Good day, everyone. Welcome to Andrew's Life. I hope everyone's doing great today. Well, I may or I may not even have my job anymore. I don't know because today I had to call in from work again because, I was sick. I'm feeling a little better today. Fortunately, I'm off tomorrow, but then I have to go back the day after. They got my schedule all weird. But, anyways, I was supposed to go into work, but I called in because I was sick. And my supervisor was telling me that, well, I've done used up all my days within a 6 month period that I was able to call in. And remind you, we're not talking PTO time because any raw work, they're cheap as hell. Anytime you call in, you don't get paid for it. You just miss a day of work. It is what it is. But you only get a couple of times, and then apparently you lose your job. The old administrator we had, that person never enforced any of this. They're more laid back. But this new person we got now, I guess, to try and prove something. I guess to try and get some brownie points. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that the new administrator, they're tripping. And of course, like I told you guys before, I mean, I got a month before I have to go and purchase my uniforms, which I'm not looking forward to doing. And I've been out here looking for other jobs, and there's not really much out here. There are warehouse jobs, there are factory jobs, and I guess if I was desperate, I would do that line of work, but I prefer not to. I got bad feet. After because the weird thing about my feet is, if I'm doing factory or warehouse work, I almost always have issues with my feet. It never fails. As for if I do housekeeping work, I'll have days where yeah, my feet will bother me a lot, but for the most part, it's bearable. So, I was just kind of doing some brainstorming, and I really don't want to dig into my retirement funds, but I might have to. I thought about buying me some equipment and going into business for myself. And I'm not gonna lie to you people, I'm a little nervous about doing that because I don't know how things are gonna turn out. But I'm so sick and tired of working a regular job. I'm so sick and tired of going out here and looking for a job. I mean, you know, as many of you guys might be aware of, a lot of these jobs they don't pay worth a crap, and it seems like they drain all your energy. It's like even the job I'm working right now, which physically is not a hard job, but it seems like when I get off of work, the day is over. I'm tired. By the time I come home and I do a video or do stuff around the house, the day is over. And the older I get, the more uh, I find it to be dehumanizing to have to ask another adult for days off. Or if I'm not feeling well, I'm at the mercy of another adult on whether or whether not I'm gonna get to keep my job in this case. Now, my supervisor didn't tell me, yeah, I'm gonna be let go or not. They just told me that they would speak to the administrator and then it was taken from there. And so it is what it is. I'm not even tripping at this point. I mean, at this point, do I want to lose? I mean, I'm just to a point where a part of me doesn't want to lose my job because it is a paycheck, but the other part of me, I don't really care. I mean, the money I'm making out of this job, it's mediocre at best. It is what it is. And another thing that's really starting to get on my nerves about this job is the fact that rather than me always having my days off in a row, hang on a second. Rather than me having my days off in a row, I might get one day off here, go to work, get another day off here. I mean, my days off are crazy. I mean, they're all over the place, they're scattered. And that's one of the reasons why. For those of you that miss my traveling blogs, that's one of the reasons why I haven't been out doing traveling blogs because with my work schedule the way it's been, it makes it difficult for me to be able to do traveling blogs because my schedule is all chopped up like that. And if I go somewhere, chances are I'm not going to be able to be back the next day in time to work my shift. So just to avoid all that, I just have not been out here traveling for the most part. And and by the way, I do notice some of you've been watching my older videos to when I was doing traveling blogs, and I do intend to get back to that. I've enjoyed those kind of videos, and honestly, when it comes to my job right now, it's kind of in the balance. It's kind of in the balance. I might have a job, I might not have a job. It is what it is. I'm not even tripping right now. I just find it, I mean, and I've been hard on myself recently because I don't know, man. It's just, I just can't help but to think, I just can't help myself. I mean, I just think, like I said, I just think of how dehumanizing it is for a grown man like myself to ask or get approval from another grown up on whether I can have a day off or if I'm sick, I call in and it's like, I don't know. Because the last time I took a day off of work, I was on my way back to work from Indiana and there was a big traffic accident on the interstate that I was traveling on, so I was not able to go to work that day. And obviously I called into my supervisor and I told him what was going on. And that was when I, learned that the administrative rehab now, they're enforcing all this other bullshit. And, I'm just to the point where I don't really give a fuck. I'm going to be real. I mean, some days, like right now, I mean, I'm feeling a little better right now. I mean, this morning I was just out of it. I was sick. I mean, I could barely walk. I mean, I was super dizzy. I just couldn't do much of nothing. And where I work, there's been a lot of people that have been sick. A lot of we deal with a lot of patients who are sick, and a lot of the co-workers they've also been sick recently. So I feel it's inevitable that at some point, working at a place like this, I'm gonna catch something, which unfortunately has happened. Now I've been drinking tea, drinking water, and I've been trying to load up on a bunch of fruits, just things that are high in vitamin C and antioxidants. Because today, my plan was as per usual, get up, go to work, come home, do a video, and then, go exercise for a little bit, which I didn't do any of that today because I've been sick all day. And I don't know. I'm really starting to wonder whether I should even go back to my job or not, to be completely honest. I mean, I'm to the point now where I don't even feel like a man keeping this job because of the stipulations. I mean, it's almost like for this mediocre pay, this job I'm working, they're controlling my life in a way, and I just don't like that. I mean, now back when I was younger, it didn't really bother me as much. I didn't think about it like that as much. I guess it was because I was trying to accomplish a lot of financial goals. But now that I'm older and I've accomplished some of those financial goals, and despite accomplishing some of the financial goals that I've accomplished, I mean, inflation is digging into my money like it is for many of you guys out here. And the wages simply are not keeping up with inflation. And now that we ain't got this new management, I'm really starting to wonder whether I should even go back to work. Been looking over my retirement fund. I've been looking at other business ideas that would require me to dig into my retirement fund so I can get the money to purchase some of the supplies I'll need. And I guess on the side until that takes off, I'll get out here and I'll try my luck with gig work. And I know gig work right now is a racket. I already know that. But honestly, I miss the days of being able to get out here and do traveling blogs. I miss the days of being able to make my own schedule. Like if I want to go visit family, I just go and I go visit family. I don't have to ask permission. I don't have to get no approval. If I get stuck in traffic or I get sick like today, I don't have to worry about getting points and losing my job and all that other bullshit. And then of course I was looking at my bills and like I told you guys before, half the bills I pay are insurance related, which is crazy to me. So I took the rabbit hole of thinking, well, what insurance can I cancel? I can't cancel my auto insurance because it's the law. I really don't want to cancel my health insurance because me being in my mid 40s, I might need it at some point. I looked at my homeowner's insurance and I got to thinking, well, what if I sold my house and decided to buy a piece of land and live in a tiny home? Yes, that thought came across my mind today. And then I got to taking out a pencil and paper and I got to jot down some of the prices that I would most likely have to pay to build this tiny home. Now, the price for me to put up to the price for me to build a tiny home, at the very least, would be about the same amount of money as I've spent on this house, a regular house. And then I got to thinking about the cost of the structure and just some of the headaches I would have to deal with if I wanted to build a tiny home. That thought came across my mind for a hot second and then it left. So, no, I'm not going to a tiny home. No. Because in my case, it's not going to be no cheaper for me to live tiny compared to the way I'm living right now. It's really not going to be no. Now, granted, utilities would most likely be significantly cheap. Well, I ain't gonna say significantly, but I would say utilities might be a little cheaper. But the upfront cost in building a tiny home is not gonna be no cheaper than having a regular size home, so I'm not doing a tiny home. And I figure when it comes to my utilities, the most expensive utilities I have right now is my propane because we've had a cooler than normal winter. I mean, normally it don't get that cold where I'm at here in Alabama, but this year it's been colder than normal. So, I've been using up more propane than what I would normally use most likely. But that's the most expensive utility I have. So I've played around with the idea of building out my other building, and then maybe for the coldest month of the winter, I live in that building. That way, I can just heat up everything with regular electricity, and then when it warms up a little bit, I'll come back into my regular house. So I thought about doing that because right now I'm looking at my budget real closely. I mean, there's really not a whole lot that I can cut back on because I don't really do a lot of spending like that. I'm fairly conservative with my money. And spending the day just trying to get better and also thinking of different ways to earn an income outside of having to stay working my regular job. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I called in sick today because I was sick. I mean, it wouldn't have even been safe for me to drive to work because I was so sick. So when my supervisor was talking about me using up my days, it's like whatever. I don't even, I didn't say that, but I feel like telling my supervisor, hey man, whatever, do y'all do what you gotta do, and I guess when I get better, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. But anymore, the 9 to 5 work experience is so it's so dehumanizing anymore. It's like here I am a grown man, and it's almost like I'm back in high school. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like you're a kid. You got to get approval to get a day off. You call in sick, it's kind of like your parents telling you, "Nah, you ain't sick. You better grab your crap and get your ass to school." I mean, that's the feeling that I got this morning when I called in sick to my supervisor. And then, like I said, the way they have my schedule is completely crazy. So I don't even get a chance to go out here and do any traveling blogs because of my schedule. So I don't know. Obviously, you guys will know one way or another of what decision I choose. I'm off tomorrow, so I mean, I do prefer to look. I mean, yes, I'm looking for something that's in the afternoon at least because I hate working mornings. But I'm to the point now where I'm. I don't know, man. I'm probably gonna give up on looking for work. Period, because there's not really crap out here. I mean, the pay's low, the expectations are ridiculous, and some of the work that might be available. I mean, like I said, I got bad feet, so you know, I really don't want to go back to work in a warehouse or a factory job because every time I take a job like that, when I get off of work, I'm walking like I'm 95 years old and shit. So I really don't want to go back to that if I can avoid it. All right, folks, that's all I got for this one. And thanks for watching. I will check with you guys later.